Welcome to the SOB radio show, where we have fun, interesting guests, and hot topics. Each week, we offer insights into music, fashion, health, fitness, and humor. Do you have the perfect guest for us to interview? I want to know. Drop me a line on our Facebook page at Spunky Old Broad 1 or reach out to me on our website at spunkyoldbroad.com. And now, back to the show. I'm back with Eva Love, and Eva is the creator of the Love Miracle System and is a relationship mentor. So you talk about guiding relationships like a magician rather than a jackhammer operator. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What do you mean by that?
Well, I'll tell you what that is that a lot of women don't know how to guide a relationship. They they're using manipulation because they don't know what else to do. It's not that they're bad or wrong. It's just that they're using the tools that they know of. And what they need is some different tools. And so they're manipulating, which to me is like using a jackhammer. It's like you're pounding the poor guy, and you want to get married, and so you say, well, if we're not married by the time we're whatever the date is, then I'm leaving. Well, that's a jackhammer. That's not elegant. That's not doesn't make a guy want to marry you, I can tell you. Now, that doesn't mean the guy won't marry you. If he loves you and he thinks that it'll make you happy to be married, sometimes he will, even if he's not ready or doesn't really want to get married. You see, the thing is, and this is one of the myths that I'll go ahead and give you, is that a lot women believe that men are commitment phobic, and that's not true. Men are
Yeah,
not.
I don't think so at all. I think, as a matter of fact, if you ever look at the widows and widowers, the widowers get married almost immediately. The widows might take a very long time, if ever,
Yeah,
to marry, but the widowers, they want someone in their life. They want someone to share it with.
they sure do. And I'll tell you, the the women who uh, will let go of whatever their belief is about what's wrong with marriage and will create a different scenario for themselves, a different belief system. And by the way, you know, a lot of people say change your thinking, change your life, but it's actually change your beliefs, change your life. Stanford did a study in the late 80s, and it said that the average person has around 60,000 thoughts a day, and those thoughts have very little impact on our lives. What changes our lives is what we believe, because that's where the energy is. So whatever your energy is focused on, that's what expands into expression. So when you have these beliefs, especially if you don't even know what you have, it's worth doing some digging to see what they are and what's going on with you, so that you can um, let go of the ones that are not working for you and create the good beliefs that will change your life. And it's not just doing affirmations, although affirmations are good. um, the 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 thing that really makes the difference is actually feeling different. When you actually embrace a feeling of being happy and joyful and full of life and having being in love, and you do this having let go of the opposite of those things, you will see a shift in your life. You will be able to change.
Well, since this is a show for women 50 plus, I would like to get your opinion on the dating sites for women, well, anyone over 50, but specifically since we're talking about women over 50. What kind of successes have you seen there, and what's your opinion of them?
Well, I've had a number of clients who have used different dating sites. I don't recommend any of them. I mean, I don't have a particular favorite, because I know that different ones have had success with different sites. But what I do is I work with them on what's going to create the attraction for the right man for them. So when you consistently attract the wrong one, it gets very discouraging. I can tell you, having been
Well,
through it.
evidently that's what you did, you know, and
Yeah.
you were putting those vibes out there,
Yep.
and they were just coming in by the bucket.
Yeah, they were, and I tell you, if there was a womanizer within 100 miles, they'd find me.
So, you had to do the changing, but I always wonder on those dating sites, and I don't know if you have had any experience with people who have done this, but I always wonder how truthful, and I guess that goes for the woman as well as the man, how truthful they are on their profiles. Because
Well,
I know a relative of mine was
yeah,
not having any, this is a guy, he was
yeah.
having no success at all until his children, his daughter, wrote his profile, and then he attracted the woman he wanted, but he did not attract her with his own commentary. So I'm
Yeah.
just wondering how true the profiles are, and the impact they have.
Well, I think that it's like anything in life. You're going to find a few rotten apples. You're going to find a few people, and if you're good at finding rotten apples, you'll find a lot of them. So, but I can tell you that, my niece, both my niece and my nephew, married from online, meeting someone online, and they're both very happy. One's been married 14 years and the other one's been married, I think, 10 years. So, these are relationships that are lasting and that are, solid. Um, so I do know that, from personal family experience, of course, I have lots of clients who have used them. And then I have clients who don't like them and don't use them, and they still attract a wonderful man or a wonderful woman, depending on if it's a man or a woman. And they are really, you don't have to use them, is what I'm saying. Because if, like a lot of women, they don't like technology. They don't want to be on their phone all the time. They, like I had one client, she signed up for one. I didn't tell her to, but she did. And then she just said, it's like a second job. And I was like, well, it can be if you feel that way about it. I said, then don't do it if you don't like it. Don't do what doesn't please you. If it doesn't feel good and you're not enjoying it, you're not going to have a good experience. But if you're going into it with the idea that this is a way to have fun, and that's what I tell women, only date if you're going to have fun. Don't date to find a man, because it's not going to work. If you date and you find that you enjoy the dating, and I help my clients learn how to have fun dating, because a lot of women don't like dating. It's what keeps them even I think my mother was one of those. My dad died at 56, and my mother never dated, never went out. I think she was just afraid of dating. And had I known what I know now, I probably could have helped her, but I didn't know any of that back then.
Well, I mean, I've been a widow for 10 years and I have not dated. And the reason I haven't dated is I just live a really full life, and I'm not sure I would have room for somebody. Not that if the right guy came along, I wouldn't feel that way, but I haven't really looked at all. I haven't put the vibes out there at all,
Yeah.
because I mean, my days are full with happy things, with things I
Yes.
like to do. And
Yes.
I have requirements too. I agree with the no smoking. I will say they also have to have a sense of humor, and they must love animals. So those are my three criteria.
Yes.
But what do you do? How do you know when you should dump a guy? And how do you dump a guy?
Well, okay, so here's the thing. If a man is not responding to you, he's not your guy. So let him go. Wish him well, don't make him wrong. Like I used to, whenever I would break up with somebody, I had to build a case against them in order to break up with them. And then I learned I don't have to do that. I could just, say to him, and I started doing this after I decided to start dating again. And I would just say, I really like you. You're a great guy. I just don't think that there's any future for us as a couple, but I would like to be friends if you're open to that. And most of the guys were. As a matter of fact, I had 3 of the guys that I had dated at my wedding because they were just good guys and we were friends. And my husband wasn't at all jealous. He didn't care. And so, that he was just part of my friend list that I wanted to be at my wedding. So, you can have a lot of good male friends and you don't have to be in love with them. And if you find that you're dating somebody and he's not responding and he's not, he's a fine person, but not for you, then let him go. And the way to do it, the gentle way to do it is just what I said. Just, I think you're a great guy. I've enjoyed our time together. If I have, I don't want to lie. But I just don't think this is going anywhere. I don't think this is going to work out. And, I wish you well. And, so just be gentle, be kind. You don't need to, one of the things you don't want to do is to list all the things wrong with them. You don't need to do that. That's not necessary. And it just creates them getting defensive. And that isn't going to end well. And, so just be gentle and let them go. And then you'll be able to attract the right one for you. You see, until we say no to what we don't want, the universe is not going to give us what we do want.
Well, that's true. On the other hand, it sounds almost like what a gal expects from a guy. I mean, a guy can say to a gal, this just isn't working out. And then, of course, a woman very often takes that really personally, because it's a personal, it's a personal statement. But, I think a guy may not have that same fear of doing it as a woman might. But I've seen a lot of guys say to a woman, this is just not working out. We're not a good match. And then, of course, the woman says, what's wrong with me? Blah, 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 so there's a lot of that too.
But see, that is her insecurities. And what I teach my clients how to do is how to not get attached right away, how to stay. And I don't mean not be open, not be closed down. Those things are not going to work for you, but how to recognize that it's either this guy or someone better. See, once you realize that you don't have to have this guy, it's when you get attached to this guy that you get your heart broken.
Well, exactly.
Because that's the basis of all the pain that you experience when you break up, is because you thought that you had to have this guy or this woman instead of, the right one. So I really focus on attracting the right one for you, because if you don't have the right one, you're not going to be happy married anyway. And the whole point is to be happy.
That's right. It's to be happy. Absolutely. And I think also to work as a team. I think that's very important as well. And it's interesting. I've always been very comfortable around men because when I started in business 60 years ago, there weren't a lot of women in business. So I was always out to dinner, a business dinner, whether it was a date or not. But if it was a business dinner, it was always 99% of the time with men. So I've always been very comfortable around men and very comfortable going out to dinner with them or whatever. And my husband was always fine with it because he didn't want to tag along and he wasn't interested. And he said, I know where you think you belong and you always come home to me. So that's what counted. But I would like to know more about your Love Miracle System. Tell us a little bit about that and what it involves.
Well, the Love Miracle System are using these techniques that I was given. There's a whole series of techniques and they do different things. Like one of them is, how I talk about finding those beliefs and bringing them to the surface. One of them does that. It brings these beliefs that you don't even know you have to the surface so you can see them and shine the light on them, bless them and let them go. And then the next piece helps you then refocus your energy on the desires of your heart. And so when you really use the desires of your heart, now see what happens with a lot of people is they get in their head and they make their list out of their head, and there's no heart in it. And that's why they don't get the right guy. So I teach them how to do that from their heart, how to really pour their energy into it. And then from there, there's a tool for if you have issues about, the patterns in your life that keep showing up, like maybe you're a procrastinator, or there's different things that people do that keep them not living the life they want to live. And so this technique then allows you to transform that behavior, that pattern to a different, something different. So what you're doing is you're basically, when we have patterns, especially deeply rooted patterns, it's like the neural pathways in our brain have these deep ruts in them. And we have to create new neural pathways. And so this technique does that. And so that you can create a new pattern, and a good, healthy pattern instead of a destructive pattern.
And are these one-on-one, or are these group, or how does that work?
I can do it both ways. I do teach in groups, and I do work privately with clients.
And how long is something like this? How do you have a set time for a course, and does everybody kind of make it or break it in that time, or do some people go a less time and some people more?
Well, it depends on what you want. When I talk with someone, I can pretty much tell them what I think would be the best way for them to go, depending on where they are in their process. Some people have already done a lot of work on themselves, and they just need tools. So therefore, I would put them in a different program that's just tools.
So give me an example of a tool.
Okay, so a tool like, one of the tools that I teach is called getting back to the love. So have you ever had an argument with somebody and there was this tension, and you just wanted to break that tension, but you didn't have any good skills for resolving conflict, and so the tension just had to kind of melt away after a few days, but the conflict never got resolved. Mm-hmm. And a lot of couples do this. They do this over and over and over again. And then these conflicts just build up and build up, and then these walls build up between them. And then pretty soon they find that their chemistry's gone, and they're not having sex anymore. And it's kind of a bummer, it's like they're roommates, or they're, antagonists more likely. Some people just, all they do is fight. So, because they don't have any skills. So this is a tool that allows you within, you stop the argument, you time out, and you both go your separate ways and calm down. Get yourself to where you're not all hot, all upset. And so you get yourself calmed down, and then you come back to each other, and you go through this very fast process. It takes about 10 minutes each person. So about 10 minutes for the one person, and 10 minutes, so total 20 minutes. And you're back to the love, you're hugging, you're kissing. And then there's another tool for how to actually resolve the conflict once you've gotten the energy off of it, of the unhappiness or the argument. And then the next tool then is how to come up with a solution that works for both of you. And so I have this tool called the win technique. And the reason I call it the win technique is because both people win. I don't believe in compromise, because compromise always leaves somebody with a bad taste in their mouth. Somebody's had to give up what they want so the other person can have what they want. And if one person does that over and over and over again in a relationship, they're going to build up resentment, and that resentment is then going to, create a blow up at some point, or somebody just, I can't tell you how many couples have come to me over the years where one person is just done. They're just like, I'm done. There's nothing else you can do or say. And when they're like that, there really is nothing more you can do or say. There's no No
Well,
counseling is
because the
going to help.
tension has built up for so long,
Exactly.
and either one or both of the parties haven't been listening very well, and
Right.
so it's a lot to overcome. So, would you say in your practice, how many of the people that you see are over 50?
Most of them.
Most of them. So either it's a second or third marriage, or it's someone who's been married for a sizable amount of time, and they've just grown apart.
That's true. That's true. A lot of my single clients who come to me, I mean, you wouldn't believe how many women they're in their 40s and 50s and never been married. And, you know, I get them married.
Well, I think that's more and more today, especially because, women are, uh, well, there's more women working, and so there's more independence. They can support themselves. They don't need someone to take care of them. And really, I think, if you get married for someone to take care of yourself, that's the wrong reason
Oh
to
yeah.
get married. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you get married because yes, you love each other, but I always say you can love a lot of people, but you can't necessarily live with a lot of people. And that's the one thing I knew about my husband. I knew that I loved him, but I also knew that I could live with him. And I
Yes,
knew
that
that he could live with me because I'm not an easy person to live with because I am so independent, and
yeah.
I don't want anybody telling me what to do. So,
Well, same here.
so I think that's happening more and more. And of course, there are still a lot of men who don't want a self-sufficient woman. A lot of them say they do, but they don't. And that has to do with the male ego and machoism and all of that. However, I think that a really secure man, a guy who's got his 2 feet on the ground, appreciates a woman who can bring something to the marriage, both financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of that. I mean, that's all a part of being who you are. So
That's right.
I'm sure that hopefully it's going to change in the future as our young guys that are used to having mothers that work, they are into that, and it takes two incomes today to kind of survive. So I think that's going to be changing. But it is interesting that so what is the magic that you think happens? We've just got about 3 minutes left. That happens that you're able to take these women who have not gotten married for whatever reason and gotten them married.
Well, I think that the key here is that they're ready to do the work. They're ready to really take themselves on and take the whole idea of dating and you know being with men on instead of running away from it or keeping themselves so busy either raising children or in their career that they've avoided it. This is mostly what I find is that if they've dated, they haven't done it with uh, the tool set, and so therefore they often don't have a great relationship. They don't have great track records. So I think it's just the fact that when women are ready and they're really ready to do the work, things change. We're powerful. We women are powerful women, and that. And then when they make a decision, okay, I'm ready to do this and ready to do the work, then man, we go to town.
So how can people get in touch with you, Eva? What's the best place for them to reach you and get some more of these gems from you?
Okay, so if they want to just have a conversation with me or ask me a question, they can just email me at eva at evalove evalove.net. That's my email address. And if they want, I have a free gift for them. It's called the 10 uh, myths that single women have about men. And like I said, even if you're married, it would be good for you to get this because it's really a powerful piece. And how to bust them, yeah, how to bust them because you want to bust those myths. You don't want to keep them. And that would be at Eva Love, HTTPQ colon // Eva Love. If you just put evalove.net /SOB, you will get it.
Okay, folks, so you heard it here. If you want to learn about those 10 myths and the things that you can do to break them, go to evalove.net/SOB and you will get those 10 myths. Well, it has been really something to learn about all these things that we've always done naturally, but now we know there's a methodology to them that makes it even better for us. And
Yes, much
I think
easier.
yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. So learn about her love miracle system because if you're out there and you're looking for that special someone and you really want, you want to have this great relationship, which I'll tell you is fabulous. There's nothing like it. When you find that right one, there is nothing like it. Go to evalove.net. Remember, it's not .com, it's .net, and see what Eva has to offer. Thanks so much for being with us today, Eva. It has been a joy.
Oh, I have just loved it. Love talking with you, Gail.
Thanks so much.
All right.